Alright, my name's Walking Eye, and today I'm going to be showing off The Legend of Oasis Any Percent. 2 players, 1 controller. 1 player, 2 controllers. How many players and how many controllers is not relevant. It's actually very relevant. We're going to just start. 1, 2, 3, let's go. So, this is Legend of Oasis. It's an action RPG, kind of like a Zelda game where you're going around collecting items to unlock more areas and more items, to unlock more areas and more items, etc., etc. Except in this game, the items are largely going to be these spirits, and these spirits are, they're friends. They follow you around, and you can summon them and unsummon them and use their magic powers to your advantage. The first one we're going to get is a water spirit, which is made obvious by that, but this game also has a second player built in that isn't really accounted for, that you can just kind of summon and jump on top of and then unsummon. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of that, as well as a couple other fancier things with that second player. Ooh, I went too far. It's just kind of small sequence breaks here and there, and then in a couple of places it's very, very significant sequence breaks. So right away we use it, but it's just kind of small things right away. And get that open. All right, we're good. So the biggest thing, we've actually done 1 sequence break so far, which is we've skipped the bow entirely. And we're supposed to use the bow here to hit this switch. Instead, we're just going to kind of damage boost our way through it, and we're also going to grab this health potion. So the health potion is just for safety. So we're going to make this a no reset run. I have made this category up because it's something that's always been kind of something that I've wanted to try. And with recent glitches that I've discovered, along with the help of some other people in the community, this has become a much more interesting route. So we're going to try the route for the first time right now. And I hope there are improvements in the future, but we'll see. So that was a pretty easy first boss, and a pretty short dungeon overall. The dungeons do get progressively longer and harder, at least in the intended order. That's a spoiler. We're not doing the intended order. But we will for the first 3. So, right away, there's some fire blocking your way as soon as you get the water spirit. It demonstrates, hey, you can use the water spirit to put out fire. It's also a hint of what the next dungeon is we're going to. So, we've got this water spirit. Now we're going to go out. We're supposed to go back that way. If we stay along the left side here, then we miss a trigger that causes us to do a required fight. So, we're not interested in any of that. Those flames you don't even have to put out. You can just jump around them. So now that we've got the first spirit, we're going to go back and talk to the village elder, who's going to say, hey, nice job doing the first spirit thing. And then he will let us out of the village, because right now we're not actually allowed outside of the village without getting the water spirit. There are a number of other story triggers in this game that we're going to have to be respectful of, we'll say, to make sure we get certain items and certain things progress in the correct way. So even though we're going to do some sequence breaking, we do want to still collect some key items that you get from the story. And I'll point those out as we go. Ooh, I missed him. I didn't mean to take a swing at you, buddy. I just wanted to talk to you. Alright, so we're out of the village. And now we're going to go to the Fire Shrine. Fire Shrine seems like a good place to go with the water spirit. I don't know who is worshipping at these shrines. These shrines are pretty dangerous. That guy is not usually there. Sometimes he is, though. Get some bush bananas. Refill our magic. Now, this is a part where it's actually very frustrating sometimes, because not only do you have to put up with a dialogue box from the water spirit here, but you also have to get like really good RNG if you want an optimal run in order to get spiders. So we wanted to skip that dialogue. Thank you, though, lady. You normally have to like step on a spider or freeze a water fountain at the right time in order to get up there and get that rod. But we have a second player now, so we can just do that. Now the rod that I picked up, that's a pretty important item. What that's going to do for us is going to do damage in some cases, but right now it's going to break open a tree to get us a key. But this key first, we're just going to have it pushed down. The second player can't actually collect items for us, but he can push them down off of ledges, and we can summon them onto the ledge. Player always tries to spawn, well, the game thinks it always tries to spawn right on top of you, but it doesn't actually want to put it on top of you, so it ends up putting it to the right in most circumstances. In some circumstances, it'll actually do it to the left or directly on top of you. That is not as abusable. Whoa. It's actually very bad if we get hit by one of those falling boulders there. But, well, actually, it's not that bad because now we got this safety elixir. We're going to skip some parts of this too. We do have to put out these 2 fires for when we leave. Otherwise, it's a bit of a pain. But that's the end of the fire shrine. We're going to fight the boss now. It's pretty much the same strategy as we saw with the first boss, where I take out the dagger and I do the spin flips. The game doesn't actually teach you that spin flip move until the forest shrine, which is next. But we've played this game before. This is not a blind playthrough. Alright, we're in there. Fire Spirit's a little bit different from the Water Spirit in the way that he floats around. He's a little bit more aggressive. Instead of trying to freeze enemies once in a while, he'll almost always go and try to punch enemies out. He doesn't have any healing capabilities. He has that fire breath right there, which is kind of nice. And we need him for a bit. It's faster to use him to break down some of these dead trees that are going to be in our way, rather than using the rod. Or it's pretty much the only 2 choices at this point. So I'll get him to float and get him to use his fire breath, and that's all we need from him for a while. I forgot to split. What's the skip split button? There's 2. I gotta remember to split. Go back and edit it after. Okay. That's Chucky right there. That's an in-game canon right there, is Chucky in our Legend of Oasis, which appears to take place in some kind of Arabian context. Chucky wants us to go back to the village. He says there's happenings at the village, and we should go check it out. And in fact, there's one of the lieutenants of the big bad guys there to scare us into, I don't know, something. But we're not going to pay attention to that. We're going to go this way. Now, we're supposed to fall down a hole, but to get in this. But instead, we're just going to use the second player again to... I didn't really want to do it like that. That's okay. No, this is fine. This is actually good. Oh, get out of here, Grandma. Man, ghosts are out in force today. We're going to take care of these nerds before doing this. And obviously we're not supposed to be here yet. This is actually going to be picking up the blue cube. The blue cube is important because without it we can't get anywhere in the final dungeon. We need 3 cubes total. We'll learn about the existence of the cubes a little bit later. But for right now, we're just going to pick that up more or less because it's convenient. We're actually going to need a couple of extra keys here. Keys in this game are dungeon agnostic, so think Zelda 1 style. They do not care what dungeon they're in, so if you're somehow able to get an extra key out of a dungeon, then you can use that key in any dungeon you want. Ow. And so we're actually going to grab a total of 4 keys from this dungeon. We're going to spend 2 of them in order to fight the boss of this dungeon, but I'm going to do this. I'm also going to grab this scroll here. This is the scroll of Rada Purification. Each of the weapons, except for the dagger, can be enchanted. sort of, and gain a special power. We're not going to need that one for a while, but we're going to grab it now. I'm also going to grab our fire spirit friend here. He's going to be useful in fighting the boss. Easy jump back. The jump back there is a lot more difficult than the jump to that sword. So that's the heavy sword. That's the next weapon we're going to get. The heavy sword's going to be useful for basically we need to enchant it later on. But right now we're just going to go fight and get the plant spirit unlocked. GG. Baby, baby, baby. And fire spirit's pretty useful in this context, fighting this guy. Especially when he opens up. That's too low. Oh no. Alright, we're fine. Alright, so that's 3 out of 6 shrines done. Now this is where the broken stuff is going to start to happen. So we've unlocked the plant spirit. Plant spirit, not that useful. I think we use him exactly once in the entire run, but he is required for story triggers. Now we're going to be able to go back to the village and get the red cube, which is the first cube we're supposed to have access to. Yeah, we're supposed to be able to get out there, but... So this is the second lieutenant we are supposed to have met. It's the first one. His name is Darkwill. He's an Egyptian lich in our Arabian Night game with a character named Chucky. Here we go. Back to the village. Arabian Night game? That doesn't make any sense. Alright. Let's summon the water spirit here. We're going to need her healing powers. Healing powers of hers work on NPCs. We're going to come back to the village and actually find an NPC in need of healing. It's this mysterious woman with black hair. Her name is Myra. She's a fortune teller. But she's got black hair, and that's considered an ill omen. Basically, the village is racist against people with black hair. The village elder Orden says, that's ridiculous. These people are superstitious. They need to, you know, shut the heck up. I did that without doing a curse. He just tells us we should help her. And some guy's like, yeah, I'm not racist. Not like everybody else in this village. And so we get her, we heal her with the power of the spirit. She says a bunch of stuff about how she's under the influence of the big bad guy. And so are the other lieutenants, and they help her. And we're like, alright, I'll go tell Orden, because I don't know what to do. I can't think for myself. I can't even put a shirt on in the morning. And then we gotta go back to her one more time, and she says, oh, by the way, there were 3 cubes. And so this is the second one. Red cube is found. So we got 2 cubes. Third one is not until basically the very end of the game. And so now she tells us to go to the Colosseum, which is the home of the Spirit of Sound. We have no interest in getting the Spirit of Sound next. Instead, we're going to go back to the Forest Shrine via very legitimate means. Get rid of him so he can't take damage for us. And in the Forest Shrine, there's an area that we were actually at, and we're going to go back to in a second. There was this area with a pot and this giant yellow crystal. And so we're going to go back there. It's a little bit faster to go this way, believe it or not. By like 2 seconds. Not even. I love that Tarzan yell when he falls down. And we're going to push this pot over. You're not supposed to do this, obviously. The purpose of this pot is so you can summon the Spirit of Sound off of it. The Spirit of Sound gets summoned off of metal. But instead, we're just going to kind of use it to get on top of this crystal and through here. Because the Spirit of Sound can break that crystal and give you access to the Shrine of Darkness. We don't have time for that. Sorry, that was a slightly old route from earlier today that I have since changed. Okay. So, now we're supposed to have a couple of things here. One is we're supposed to have bombs. Two is we're supposed to have the Spirit of Sound. I will break that before I push it down. Thank you, though. It's very difficult to control two things at once. This is basically a free item. This is a gem. This levels up your spirits. And also gives you a little more max magic. So it's something if I was actually trying to grind out like a super world record, I probably would not stop for that one. But it's pretty free. Alright, and we're through here. So we're supposed to use an enchanted heavy sword in order to get that. The Earth Sword. Thank you. Please fall onto me. Okay. So we got the Earth Sword scroll now. The second one that we're supposed to be able to have access. Well, the third one we're supposed to have access to. So we will need that for a little later in the run, but not right now. More second player shenanigans where we're just jumping on heads. Oh my god, go away. And this is basically a free pickup here. This is the level 2 dagger called the Battle Knife. That's going to give us just a very significant DPS increase. Until we're able to pick up the third one. Excuse me, just getting over a cold. There is a puzzle here about how you're supposed to do this, but we don't have time for it. We're actually going to recharge. So we only have 3 uses of an enchanted weapon per scroll that we pick up, and of course we only ever pick up the minimum that we can, so. I missed. That's alright. That jump is actually really difficult to make. Gotta wait for that body to get out of the way. It's alright, I'll have time to make up in my next run. So we have this Earth Sword that we're kind of saving. We're going to save it in order to get... Let's go like that. In order to get an item a little bit later on. I should have unsummoned the second player there. It's okay if I die because I do have this safety health potion, so I'm not very worried about it. In case you were wondering why I wasn't really panicking taking all that damage there. Come on. There we go. We can make this jump over where the zombies are, even though it's a little bit lower, but it requires us to, you know, do the weird where they're both jumping. And the zombies will kill us in the interim there. So this is a big thing that we needed the green sword for here, is to get these bombs. These bombs are pretty useful. They're certainly useful in any percent, where it's the only way to do jumps up to higher ledges. They're still useful, even though we have the second player. So we will pick up the level 2 bombs. Level 1 bombs are in the Sound Shrine, which we don't have time to go to. And you will understand why as soon as we're done with this shrine. So again, we're supposed to have the Sound Spirit. So right here we have electricity balls. Electricity, as every high school physics student knows, is weak to sound. And you're supposed to disable it, but instead we're just going to run right by. We are going to take a safety health refill here. Just because we took so much damage from those spiders. Now in this room, this next room, watch these little plant alien things. So those things are all... The only way you're able to defeat them, they're called thorns. The only way you're able to defeat them is with the Shadow Spirit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the Shadow Spirit. We're going to defeat very specific ones. Because under each of those thorns is a portal to somewhere else in the world. And that's why we want to do the Shadow Shrine as soon as possible. To get access to those portals. This is Screamer, so that's Ghost Egg in the middle there. You can't actually damage Ghost Egg. You gotta wait for it to hatch. There's no way to speed up this process. There is a way to slow it down, which is to attack it directly for some reason. But we're just gonna try to avoid taking damage here. I think it's like a minute and a half, a little less. Minute 23 seconds. I timed it a couple of times because I never wrote it down when I timed it. And so I keep forgetting how long it is and then I keep retiming it. You'd think I would learn. Just like put it in a note somewhere. Like a keep note. Or a post-it note. Alright. Pretty obvious, we gotta hit him in the tail. He doesn't want us to. We hit him in the head, he does that, which is fine. Normally we can hit the tail on the way up. We missed that time. There we go. Got 2 hits off that thing that time. I've missed so many splits. I've missed so many splits. Like I'm not even paying attention. Alright. Anyway, so we've unlocked the Shade, the Spirit of Darkness or Spirit of Shadow. Hey, I remember that one. And now we are going to use these portals here. We're going to kill this thorn particularly to go immediately to the end of the Sound Shrine. This is the room directly before the boss. And we are just going to solve the puzzle, which is thankfully not randomized between playthroughs, and go right into the final boss of the Sound Shrine to get the Sound Spirit. Now, we also have the level 2 dagger, which we are not supposed to have at this point. So that kind of increases our damage by a significant amount. And it makes this fight quite a bit easier. Ooh, I missed. It is RNG which one he ends up being in, but you can usually figure it out pretty accurately. Oh, I thought I had it. Alright, so we had a bad fight there. If you see a tornado, basically the fight has gone poorly. Because as his health gets lower and lower, he disappears back into the sand more and more quickly. But I'm not too worried. Yeah, see? Ow. You jerk. Alright, he's dead. Good night, Tim Tim. Generally, we fight him with the rod. But the level 2 dagger is significantly more damage. Cool. We see Red Demon again. He's fun. He looks like a Saturday morning cartoon guy. So we're going to grab a couple of bombs, and we're going to grab this elixir here. The elixir is going to be like a health potion, except this one is less for safety and more for we actually need it. So we need to go back to the village now. We still needed to defeat all of the shrines, basically, in order to advance the story, like I was saying before. And the important thing that we're getting now is the level 2 heavy sword, the Orden sword. So I think one of the minions brought a plague or something against the village, and everybody's sick, and Warden is dying. He's the village elder, so he's going to give us his sword, which is going to let us enter the air shrine. Not even the Spirit of Water can save him. And air shrine will be our last shrine. So we've actually gone through 5 shrines already. 25 minutes in. I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm guessing about 45 minutes. I'm hoping about 45 minutes. I guess it won't. I'm guessing it won't take. It'll probably take 55. All right, my guess is 55. If I can get a 55, I'd be very happy. Oh, don't forget. Gotta summon Shadow Spirit before we leave the village. I didn't forget to split either. Alright, so thankfully, right here in the village, there's a quick route back to the Shadow Shrine portal room. And then we can use that to take another portal. This is actually in the Earth Shrine, but in the kind of the top left corner there. And this is going to set us on our path to the Air Shrine. Get rid of that thorn. Now, as we're going through to the Air Shrine is up in the air. If we fall down at any point, we will fall back down to like the level below. It's not just going to be a pit that damages us and sets us back. One of the advantages of having the Shadow Spirit with us is that if we fall down, the Shadow Spirit will actually catch us and prevent that fall. So we are going to want the Shadow Spirit with us for a while. Another thing the Shadow Spirit can do is can see hidden items. We knew that was there, so we didn't really need the Shadow Spirit for that, but there is like that is discoverable. All right, we've entered air. Ow. I'm gonna go a little easy here. Alright, cool. Now this is gonna be the major skip kind of the game. Even not yeah, it's not about the same amount of time saved as skipping the entire Sound Shrine. As we're gonna skip the majority of the Air Shrine. And we're going to do that by clipping out of bounds. We haven't done that because clipping out of bounds is fairly limited in this game. But we are able to do that here. What we're going to do is we're going to summon the second player such that they never hit the ground. And as a result, Shade actually tries to save them and then return them to their last known good location. But there is no last known good location. So Shade instead carries us to 0-0, where we're out of bounds. And you can kind of maneuver a little bit. If you go all the way down, then you can kind of walk across tiles. Walk across entire screens. So we're actually going to take that, walk through the village very briefly. All the way over to this room. And we're going to clip back in balance here at this transition. Now there's a lot of restrictions as far as when you can and can't clip in bounds. But that's the most useful instance of clipping, and it's the only instance that we use in the run. But it's a pretty good one. I mean, come on. So this is the room right before the boss. We are going to have to do a little bit of puzzle solving in order to get actually into the boss room. Specifically, we're going to need to use the green sword. Kill these guys because they're jerks. Killing those guys opens that door to the north. We're not actually going to take that right now. We are going to instead use that little power circle to break a couple of these pillars. We have to break all of these black pillars in order to be allowed into the boss room. Because we only have one scroll, we're going to have to do this kind of a couple of times. Especially because we actually want to be able to take 3 green sword uses into the boss fight. So we do have one left. That's not quite good enough. Because we're going to actually turn this into 5. We'll save. Oh my god, I forgot something. Alright, let's reset really quick. I need to go into that fight with the sound spirit. I can't believe I did that. That's really funny, actually. Come on. Good thing I saved. Otherwise, we had to do that fight without the sound spirit. Nah, it's not a fun fight. It's a fun fight if you know how to do it. Alright, so we gotta go back. It doesn't, when you save the game, it doesn't save what your enchanted weapon was. Which is very unfortunate, but not that big a deal in the end. This is a no reset run. Alright. I was like, something's missing. I feel naked. Alright, so that's Myra. So that was the girl in the village that we saw earlier. Go through, get this, which will get us 3 more uses, which is enough, barely, to break open this nerd shell, please. Come on. So we're using the AoE from the Spirit of Sound, because everybody knows eagles made out of rock hate loud noises. Ow, the guy threw me far. He's dead. He's all done. You're all done. There he goes. Okay. That was a heck of a fight. The Zero Cycle. If I don't have the Spirit of Sound there, then he's guaranteed to get into his rock eagle form, and we don't have any desire to see that happen. Alright, so that is the 6th and final spirit. So all that's left now is to go to the final dungeon and beat the final boss. I'm getting better at remembering to split, huh? That's not bad. Like I said, if you fall down in the level below. We're back in the Valley of the Dead. We have 2 cubes, right? Yeah, just making sure. I've done that before. Quickest way back is to take the Ankle Deep River. The Ankle Deep River gives us a lot of momentum if you flow with the river. Alright. So the final dungeon is actually hidden within the water shrine itself. So we're going to go back to the water shrine via the shadow shrine. And you can kind of see that there's something going on here. With that rock switch there. And this thorn here. Now we're going to get the air spirit. The air spirit is useful for like these two screens. This one is called Fluffy Ride. That's the in-game name. And I summoned her, and I didn't really want to do that. So we're going to go back. It is very difficult to get off of the Fluffy Ride and not unsummon her. There we go. Sometimes the game just registers the input. So we made it to the Mystic Room. We didn't fall down in a random spot. We fell down in a very specific spot in order to do this. Come on. We eat this giant ginger, which literally makes us grow. It just makes ourselves bigger and more pixely. But it allows us to do a jump that we wouldn't normally be able to do. More skipping. We're going to spend a second here to pick up an optional item. This is the level 3 rod. It's called the Holy Rod. And this is just for damage, basically, for the final boss rush. Makes our lives quite a bit easier. Grab the Spirit of Sound really quick. So see these crystals from earlier? This is how you're supposed to get them. Oh, I guess we saw a couple crystals. Alright, and we have spent our 2 keys that we got from earlier in the Plant Shrine. We'll do a quick save here. Now this part, we could use... Oh, this jerk. We could use the second player, but it's actually a lot easier to just do it with bombs there, in order to get the positioning exactly right. So we're just going to use bombs for 2 of these little ledge jumps. We do need quite a number of keys inside this. We do have access to a number of like extra keys in the other dungeons still, but it's much faster just to get these ones. These are so quick, and we'll bomb jump on top of those. It's almost impossible to do that with the second player because you need the iframes in order to stand on top of the fire. So we're going to collect keys. We're also going to collect our final powered item. This is going to be the Wind Rod. The Wind Rod is just going to kind of push things. We're bringing the Water Spirit with us just to freeze these nerds. It's really hard to only grab one of those. Alright. So we got the Wind Rod. And now it's about collecting the final couple of keys that we need. And the final cube. And then we get to go to the boss. My mind is not equipped to handle with things going slightly wrong. Yet. So you can use the Wind Rod to push that off, but it's a little bit faster to just summon the second player up there and have him kick it. And there's the Wind Rod use. This guy is legitimately difficult because he can be very, very quick. and he can stun lock you. So we carry the water spirit there with us, just in case that happens. I had a little bit of a panic attack just now. I thought I was missing a key. I am not missing a key. Just get different keys than 80%, that's all. Everything's fine. Alright, so this is kind of a big fight here. We have very low health compared to what we normally have. Certainly compared to what we're intended to have. It's 3 waves. First wave is these weird tentacle balloons, of course. These are actually fairly difficult enemies, but they die in one shot to the Shadow Spirit. Next is a big ghost. Dies in one shot to the Rod of Purification. Looks like I got these guys lined up pretty well to not destroy me. Sometimes they can be very, very annoying, but they're going to be very nice today. And we're going to get a nice, clean purple cube fight. That was great. Always, always worried about the purple cube fight. Gonna unsummon Shade for a minute here. I don't even remember why I switched to weapons at a lot of these points, but I've just run this so many times. Not this category, obviously, but this game. So many times it's just like, oh yeah, of course you pause there. And switch to the heavy sword. So we got all the keys we need. We got all everything we need, really. So we're just gonna head to the final tower. Excuse me. And we need the air spirit to get us there. That fluffy ride gonna come in very, very handy. That's the reason we need bombs. You can do that with the fire spirit, but then it's like you gotta get an extra summon, and you gotta go find a fire source, and which you can do, but still. These doors, these types of doors, that are throughout the game, if I could find a way to jump over them, this run would be very, very short. Someday. Someday. A week ago, I would have told you it was impossible to clip out of bounds, but here we are, and I clipped out of bounds. Alright, so we're going to jump on this just to bait this guy into looking the wrong way for us. And that's the final key that we needed. She will only let us in if we have all 3 cubes. So we did, which is nice. Alright, so now it's a boss rush. Now we fight all of the kind of minions and the lieutenants of the big bad guy that we've seen throughout the game. We will save here just in case we die, but... Rank 5. Rank 5 is not bad. Once in a while you'll see that it says like rank up on my screen. It's sort of a level system. It's sort of a handicap system. The more damage you take, well, it's the more damage that you heal. Ow. You really don't want to take damage. Alright, that's fine. That's not a lot of damage that we took. The more damage you heal, the higher your rank gets. Alright, I haven't had a good bludgeon fight in a while. Let's see if we can have a clean bludgeon fight. Nope. There we go. Oh, he got all punchy on me. Yeah. I don't like when he gets punchy. If you can skip the punching, that's usually a pretty good thing. But we got him down pretty good anyway. Now on each level there is an elixir that you can get, kind of for safety. But we don't have time for that. We might stop for one, it depends. This is the second use of the plant spirit. I forgot about this one. His only purpose is to summon the water spirit, an actual useful spirit. Now I mentioned before, and you've seen before, that the water spirit has this ability to stun enemies. And as you can imagine, that doesn't work on bosses. Well, it works on this boss. I don't know why. But, I'll take it. She's in a good mood. One more hit. Oh, that is a good fight. That was a good fight. That's a good red demon fight right there. Where are we going next? I haven't even been looking at chat, man. I should have been looking at my chat. I've just been making sure everything's been going fine. Alright, next is going to be Dark Will. Now, Dark Will is the Egyptian Lich. And if you know anything about Egyptian Liches, is that they hate sound. So we're going to go out of our way here to summon Brass. That was bad. Alright, Dark Will's dead. We've used our elixir, but that's okay. We got a free refill there. We were looking for a refill anyway, mostly for magic. I'll show you why in a moment. So we finished Dark Will. It's going to be a little bit more dangerous for us now. Oh, crap. I screwed up a split somewhere. So we're going to have to actually kill Brass here. Brass is going to die. And turn himself into the level 3 dagger. And then we're going to go right into the next fight. I'm going to kind of go over here. Please spawn in a favorable location. Oh, come over here. Thank you. We want to get her in the corner. Please don't summon any ads. Punch her. Oh, you're kidding me. Well, this is not going well. All right, actually went just well enough. All right. Whew, that is a stressful fight. I'm still like behind on splits. All right, save one more time. Have I died? No, the only screw up that I had was the... Alright, that's actually not bad. Alright, so on this ice... well, we need a little bit of magic first. We are going to grab the safety elixir now. We don't need that much magic. I'm going to blow up that fountain on our way by, though. Let Shade catch up to us so we can summon Shade. Grab this elixir. So even though we have the level 3 dagger, and the level 3 dagger is capable of more damage than the level 3 rod, it's difficult to get that many attacks off for the final boss. It's actually a really, really hectic fight. So we're going to heal ourselves up to full. We don't need full magic. We're actually going to summon the air spirit for this final fight. The air spirit dies immediately. She just goes and becomes a magic circle that we can use during the fight, which is very, very helpful for us. This is like a really good time. So we're just going to beat on him. He's going to do some damage to us, but we're just going to wait until he either summons... it gives us the ability to summon the water spirit, which he did very early. Thank you. Alright, we're going to wait for him to come back down here. So we can stand on this. Well. And we're just going to kind of heal up throughout this entire fight. Sometimes when she hits him, he'll get a water shield. So we have to break that with fire. Thankfully, our bombs count. Alright, so she got unsummoned. I'm not sure if it ran out of magic or he summoned one of those pink things that made contact with him. When he summons the pink thing and it makes contact with your spirit, it just unsummons the spirit. It's very annoying. We have an elixir here. I think we're going to go a little bit aggressive. Last time. 52-10. Alright. With practice, I think this could be 45 minutes. So we'll put the estimate in at 55. That's Legend of Oasis in 52 minutes, 10 seconds, which is the world record for a category that's not even on speedrun.com yet. See, that sneak preview category, a hot new category from the hot new game, from the Saturn. I was going to say the hot new console, but it's none of those things. It's just a Saturn. It's really sad. Saturn, obviously not the most loved system. There are a couple of gems. I think this is one of them. This is a really fun game. It's really fun from a casual perspective. Just there's a lot of goofy things throughout the world and anachronistic things and a lot of goofy lore and stuff that doesn't quite fit. And then it's a really fun run. There's really interesting movement. There's really interesting glitches. We even got a little bit of out of bounds there that's not too broken. I'm going to see if my chat's there. Hey, Sirius is there. Oh, I understand. Okay, so the spirits there, the tentacle monster things, they're weak to shade because so the big bad guy, he has the silver amulet, whereas I have the gold amulet. He's got an armlet. Oh, still a little sick. And his armlet is the armlet of life. I didn't realize that. And shade is death. So anyway, we got some nice 90s anime cutscenes going on at the end here. A little preview of the future of the world that we've just played a game in. This game is actually a prequel to a Genesis game called Beyond Oasis. Yeah. I forget to split so many times. Well, that's exciting. We gotta wait till the end to see the statistics. But we will do that. I guess we're gonna call this 2P. Should we put an exclamation mark? 2 P's? No, let's do 2P. Rank 8, that's really good. Kills 50, that's really good. Item percent 12, that's, I think the normal is like 16 that I get, 15, 16. I could have skipped one. I could have skipped that, the aquamarine that I picked up. Obviously my fastest time by far, and my lowest rank, just because I skip so much. And so if you skip a lot more, then you have a lot more, a lot fewer opportunities to take damage, fewer opportunities to heal. 41-46 in-game time, though. So, all right, well, that was a blast to run. I'm very glad that we've created this category and at least somewhat routed it out. There's probably a couple of routing optimizations we can do. I have to go back over the video and enter in my splits properly and pick out some smaller optimizations. So I'm sure we can get this down to like a 45. I think I can get a 45, maybe a 44. So an estimate of 55 minutes is going to be generous, and all. But I've been sitting in bed, so haven't had time to work on it as much as I would like in time for submissions. So anyway, that's been Legend of Oasis. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, chat, for hanging out. I appreciate it.